Fala galera, sejam bem-vindos ao Crescim Games, quem fala com vocês é Crescim. Vamos continuar aqui na série Rumo Platina de Tales of Arise. Finalmente então chegamos aqui em Lenegis, onde a cidade está totalmente detonada e agora nós temos que falar com a população para entender o que houve e também procurar a zona proibida. Então bora lá começar, né? Está tudo de pernas para o ar no distrito residencial e há muitos feridos. Coisas continuam caindo nas pessoas e elas também estão caindo.
Oh dear me, what an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zugals have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit. The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Deixa eu só fazer um save, que eu não salvei nenhuma vez desde que vim pra cá, né? Pode ser aqui. O soberano sabe o que é melhor, sua vontade funciona de formas misteriosas. Alguém pode me ouvir? Por favor, alguém me responde. O que está vendo? Por que não consigo falar com ninguém? Cadê aquele maldito soberano quando precisamos dele? Ele não vê que a cidade está em apuros? Calma, não vamos nos precipitar. Tenho certeza de que existe uma razão para ele não ter aparecido ainda. Vamos dar tempo ao tempo. Alma de laranja, né? Agora eu não preciso, já tenho itens sobrando. Onde é que eu tô? Eu saí só pra dar uma volta, mas agora eu não sei onde eu tô. Não sei, tá tudo desmoronando e tudo parece diferente. Também não consigo encontrar a mamãe e o papai. Não precisam ter medo, crianças. Estou certo de que há uma explicação para tudo o que está acontecendo. Mas até os Zegos estão correndo soltos por aí. Parece perigoso. Os Zegos não são nada mais do que nossos servos. Eles podem ter escapado, mas eu garanto que logo os coloco sob controle de novo. Se vocês têm orgulho de serem Rehnanos, então sejam valentes. Já estará tudo de volta ao normal antes que percebam. Em toda a minha vida, nunca tinha visto armas curativas tão potentes. Muito obrigado por se dar ao trabalho de ajudar uma velha feito eu. Parfait fino, um parfait exuberante e coberto de frutas e creme. Embora seja extremamente delicioso, traz sérios riscos de você desenvolver muitas cáries.
Everything will be okay now.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Já que a gente usou ali, vamos fazer um esquema aqui.
Your lordship. Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time.
Será que vão pausar o torneio de sucessão atual? Talvez não tenha nem noção do que aconteceu, né? De repente os Zegos pararam de obedecer aos nossos comandos, assim que viramos as costas eles se mandaram em direção ao horizonte. Isso nunca tinha acontecido, teremos que postergar o torneio de sucessão, não dá para levá-lo adiante enquanto as coisas estiverem desse jeito.
Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Rehnan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth, that Lenegis is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said his Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rehna while presiding over both Rehna and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rehna at least the same size as Dana? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rehna itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Danon. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered, until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction. Let's go find it!
Meu Deus do céu, que loucura tá acontecendo. Sinto que é uma verdadeira bênção ter um Lorde que se importa tanto com o povo.
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danon city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey! What's got into Alvin and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dana.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Ganabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Rehnanos e seus lords. Nada aqui. Fale com as pessoas que apoiam os lords. Você quer saber qual lord eu apoio? Por quê? Você está angariando apoio para alguém? Sirva Sua Excelência Erwolsey Teudilis. Provavelmente você o conhece melhor como Lord Balsif. Sei que muitos o consideram um brutamontes impiedoso, acredite, conheço o lado agressivo dele. O que as pessoas não percebem é o cuidado que ele tem com todos do seu clã. É justo dizer que a casa Teudilis não goza de muita estima. Nós que servimos somos os primeiros a admitir isso. Mas Sua Excelência sempre nos defendeu de qualquer perigo. Nisso nós podemos confiar. O esforço dele no torneio de sucessão não é só pela família dele, mas para melhorar a posição de cada membro do clã. Devo muito a Sua Excelência, eu jamais poderia sonhar em servir outro Lord.
Balsif had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
É o mesmo diálogo. Lorde do Halim, o senhor voltou? Ah, vejo que trouxe ajudantes com você. O senhor se lembra de mim, meu Lorde? Claro que sim, certo? Além de apoiar a casa e o Caras, eu apoio especificamente Sua Excelência. Tanto que venho tentando compartilhar meu apreço por Sua Excelência com qualquer pessoa que queira ouvir. Na verdade, eu pretendia publicar minhas extensas anotações sobre o assunto nesse pequeno terminal, para leitura e desfrute de todos. Mas não consigo fazer pelo hoje desde que cortaram as linhas por causa do tumulto. Já sei, já que todos estão aqui, vou ler em voz alta. Carran. Havia um homem muito bonito que emanava beleza e cada palavra em sua boca, cada sílaba soava como uma poesia divina. Ele vem da famosa casa Ilcaras, o seu nome é Lorde do Halim. Tem profundo amor pelas artes, mas sua paixão é a música. Não é possível comparar os tipos toscos e rudes dessa terra com sua magnificência. E que postura refinada, majestosa, nossa, é só de pensar já fico extasiado. Quando ele for nosso soberano, o reino florescerá como nova, conduzindo todos a uma nova era de prosperidade para nossa grande civilização. Até esse dia chegar, estarei para sempre em oração por sua vitória, de manhã, à tarde e à noite. Então, milord, gostou? Despejei meu coração dessas palavras para capturar a sua essência. Espera, eu esqueci de mencionar uma coisa sobre seu amor pelas coleções. Preciso aproveitar enquanto as linhas estão cortadas para corrigir esse erro. Só então minha obra-prima estará completa.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
Ora, não creio. Pensar que alguém tentaria me afastar da casa Valkyries. O que você quer? Não dá pra dizer que trabalha pro Lorde do Halim ou para aquela nojenta lei da Meidreia. Trabalha? Não, nossa, não me assuste assim. Respondendo a sua pergunta, eu sou de uma família que serve a casa Valkyries há gerações. Certamente estou fazendo o possível para ajudar o Lord Ganabelt nos batidores, mas para que ele alcance a vitória. Muitos o consideram um homem cruel, mas eu insisto, estão todos redondamente enganados. Não nego que ele seja rígido, mas ele coloca os interesses de Rehna acima de tudo como ninguém. Ora, ele defende a expansão dos nossos horizontes pela colonização de Dana, em vez de ficarmos confinados em Lenegis. Assim, nos tornaremos mestres dos dois mundos e deixaremos de ter um status secundário na superfície de Dana. É por isso que ele quer ser o próximo soberano. A ambição maior, mais nobre do que essa? Acho que não. É a busca pelo poder em nome do avanço de nossa espécie. É o que o torna um Lorde exemplar, um modelo a ser seguido. Não tive a honra de acompanhá-lo, mas meus 2 filhos foram abençoados pela oportunidade de segui-lo na superfície. Como pai, fico inebriado de orgulho.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rehna succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rehna.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
E agora?
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects of Lenegis' transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
Pardon me.
Esta área está sob jurisdição única e exclusiva da casa Kaineres. Peço que saia imediatamente. Você certamente não está dizendo que desconhece nossa famosa casa, comandada pela prestigiada Lei de Almeidreia? Se estiver, peço que ouça muito bem. Na verdade, eu ordeno que escute com extrema atenção. Já percebeu como, na história de Lenegis, pouquíssimas senhoras participaram do torneio de sucessão? Há algumas teorias a respeito disso, mas a Lei de Almeidreia acabou com qualquer dúvida desse pessoal do contra com o mais puro poder. Aliás, além de usurpar o trono do próprio pai e ex-mestre da família, ela também eliminou a concorrência de seu irmão mais velho ao trono. Nada pode deter essa mulher quando ela quer alguma coisa, e inimigos não conseguem achar nenhuma brecha para atacar. Sem dúvida, a Lei de Almeidreia é uma mulher talentosa. Ninguém em Rehna representa mais as virtudes da meritocracia de nossa nação. Em breve chegará a era em que uma soberana gloriosa reinará finalmente sobre Lenegis e todos nós.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right, too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
O que está vendo? Não entendo. Não anunciaram nenhum decreto nem nada, diferentemente de como sempre foi. Tem razão. Mesmo que tenha sido um acidente, é estranho não termos ouvido nada do soberano ainda. Meus ouvidos me enganam, ou você está dizendo que não confia no que o soberano está fazendo? Pois saiba que eu fui parte da delegação que veio com ele para Dana durante o torneio de sucessão anterior. Além de ser um homem brilhante, ele também era bom com artes astrais. Tenho certeza que ele está a par da situação e tem um plano para resolvê-lo. Até lá, devemos apenas esperar e confiar em seu julgamento. Você salvou minha vida. Teria sido meu fim se não fosse você ter chegado na hora que você chegou, senhorita. Eu entendo que estamos em torneio de sucessão, mas não fazia ideia de que um artista astral tão hábil estava entre nós. Peço perdão por não notar antes. Por favor, não precise se curvar tanto. Tudo o que eu fiz foi acertar o ponto fraco daquele Zegel. Nem tive chance de ir para o torneio de sucessão em Dana, então não sei bem como me sentir em relação a toda essa pompa pra cima de mim. Cadê minha casa? Eu não sei como chegar lá. Desculpe, só é permitido a entrada de pessoas autorizadas. O dano a partir daqui é severo e tem que dar a volta. Como membro desta casta mais alta, ordeno que você encontre uma rota para fora daqui pelo distrito vizinho. Não, por favor, você não pode esperar que um idoso como eu faça isso, não enquanto há zegos correndo soltos por aquela parte da cidade. É exatamente por isso que tem que ser você. Certamente você não pensa em me desafiar agora, ou pensa. O distrito residencial está completamente destruído, as estradas estão um caos e não conseguimos obter energia. Os terminais de informação caíram também. Não conseguimos entrar em contato com nossos companheiros Rehnanos na superfície em Dana. Será que o soberano sabe o que está se passando? Ali eu já falei, já, né?
Ridiculous.
Desprezível. Ah, eu só estava lendo sobre o Lord Voron. Posso ajudar?
Okay.
Sempre fui um apoiador fervoroso do Lord Urguail Ildris. Urvagil? Se ele não tivesse morrido de repente na superfície, eu ainda seria. Na minha opinião, o Lord Urvagil é o verdadeiro Lord da Água. Não consigo acreditar que ele morreu em um acidente, como dizem. Nem me venha me perguntar sobre como Voron comanda a Ganat Harrows. Eu soube que ele escraviza danianos e até seus companheiros Rehnanos. Talvez a gente vive em uma sociedade na qual o vitorioso fica com todo o espólio, mas as ações dele vão contra os princípios do nosso povo. Além disso, de qual linhagem é essa casa Igneseri aí, afinal? Nunca ouvi falar até que ela apareceu, ou seja, eles devem fazer parte do que era pior na sociedade. Nunca antes na história uma linhagem tão ignóbil produziu um artista astral capaz de ascender à posição mais alta. Nada disso faz sentido. Isso sem falar em todo o tumulto que vem acontecendo. O que está acontecendo com o nosso povo?
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganeth Harrows changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Rhenans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Rhenan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Rhenans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you, because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the lords were all people, too. Falstaff and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Rehnanos, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Renwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danon doesn't make you a good person. And being a Rehnan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Xion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
Tem mais umas pessoas por aqui. Pai, o que tá acontecendo? Eu tô com medo. Não sei o certo, filho. Nunca vi isso acontecer em todos os meus anos aqui em Lenegis. Nenhuma vez sequer. Sempre houve um decreto antes de algo acontecer. Não só não houve nenhum desta vez, como o distrito residencial sofreu com os danos e pessoas feridas. Então será que significa que tem alguma coisa ruim acontecendo? É possível. Por enquanto só podemos torcer para dar tudo certo. Tem que lembrar que não é Lenegis, é Lenegis. Eles chamam. Eita.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rehna should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfried Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfried whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rehna?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Rehnis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Tem mais alguém aqui? Como foi que isso pôde acontecer? Por anos Lenegis foi um bastião da ordem e da estabilidade. Onde foi que tudo deu errado? Nada escondido aí.
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait,
Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still...
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
What?
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Olha ali a treta rolando. Eu me sinto culpado por fugir enquanto tem criança lutando lá fora. Não preciso se preocupar com eles. Eles vêm de uma família de casta mais alta que a nossa. Significa que as áreas atrás deles são mais fortes que as nossas. Eles só estão cumprindo seus deveres na sociedade, como membros da elite governante. Eu sei, mas ainda não me parece certo. Então beleza, galera, eu vou deixar pra gente continuar no próximo vídeo. A gente já tá chegando a quase 40 minutos e provavelmente ainda tem muito diálogo e muita conversa pela frente. Então eu vou deixar pra gente continuar no próximo vídeo. Então muito obrigado por terem assistido e até a próxima. Valeu!